I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let. I'm. I'm gonna let Duncan. do it.
Please,
No,
let him.
but no, he's such an amazing guy. He's got such a great story, you guys. If you want to, if you want to look back and see, he explains a little bit on the interview here, but you've got to read that in the Woodford Charm, and then watch this segment right here. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. What's up, Woodford? We're here downtown Versailles today with Thrivent Financial's Duncan Gardiner. Sorry, Duncan, I already got that wrong. It is just Thrivent. All you need is a one word, right?
There you go. No problem.
So Duncan has been a family friend of mine for many years, and I've gotten to know him in a lot of different roles and capacities because you have quite the background in the financial industry and banking industry. Can you tell our viewers today a little bit about your journey to today?
Thanks, Emily. And I appreciate being on this show. Congratulations on your billboard and just the way the show has taken off. So I've been in financial services for over 30 years. I grew up in this area, but went to school at Miami of Ohio, got a degree in economics, and then graduated and went into banking. And I was in banking for about 28 years, 24 of them at Kentucky Bank here in Versailles. And I served on your dad, James K., served on the board with me for many of those 24 years. So a little bit of a history there. So about 4.5 years ago, I decided, what could I do that would take my financial background but allow me to work with people in a different way. And in banking, I could help people with their banking needs, financing homes or businesses, or their checking account needs. But people have a lot more needs in the financial world. So becoming a financial advisor and actually a certified financial planner a few years ago has really helped me to work with people in a more comprehensive way. So how's that for an answer?
That's awesome. And I do want to get into the financial portion. That's why we're here today. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about your family. Kind of why Versailles? Because you're so embedded in this community. You're such a great community partner in terms of giving back and being involved. Can you tell them a little bit about why Woodford for you?
Yeah. My wife and I moved to Woodford County back in the early 90s. When I started working for Kentucky Bank, they wanted me to live in the same community where the bank was. So we said, sure, we'd love to. My wife is from Southern California, so this was quite a change for her. Our son was 1 when we moved here, and our daughter was born a year later. So both of our kids have grown up in Versailles. They're now grown. My daughter and her husband now have a son, Grady, so I'm a grandfather. And all this has happened since I've lived in Woodford County. But what I really love about this community is it's so unique. We're like this bubble in a good way in the heart of central Kentucky. It's beautiful. It's a safe place. It's a beautiful place. And when I left my banking career, I decided, I want to stay in this community. And where else would be better suited to have an office than in the heart of downtown? So that's kind of what my theme was in looking for a place. I want to be in the heart of downtown. So here I am on North Main Street. And when people ask where my office is, I say it's right across from the public library and catty corner from the Woodford County Courthouse.
That's right. And the Amson coffee. I see a coffee candle back here. Yeah. So you're very well positioned. So let's talk about financial planning and just all the services that you provide in general, because when people think about their financial situation, it can sometimes be stressful, whether it's good, but it just is a lot of work for them and they, stress about that, or maybe they're not where they want to be and they need to set some goals. So there's a lot of services that you provide that can help people no matter where they are in their journey to kind of further that path, right?
Yeah. So when people think about a financial advisor, oftentimes they think, well, I've got to have a lot of money. I've got to have money that somebody can manage and advise on. But really, that's just one portion of what I do. As a financial planner, I look at the overall picture of a person's financial life. So, for example, a lot of the people that I work with are individuals or couples that are close to retirement, maybe within 10 years. And we've been trained in a good way to accumulate, to save money over a long period of time. And I think we've got some expertise when it comes to that. But when it comes time to retire, there are a lot more moving parts when it comes to that. And so having somebody that is not only familiar but has been trained in that to come up with a financial plan to make sure that you're able to retire when you want to, but also that you can live throughout retirement, because the fact is people are living a long time now. We want to make sure that we don't run out of money before we run out of life, is kind of a common saying. But you don't have to be close to retirement to work with somebody like me. Anybody at any stage of their life would do well to work with a financial planner. I like working with young people just to get them on the right path, to make sure that they are doing the things they need to do to put them in a good position in the future, and also protecting themselves in case something goes wrong, especially with young families. So some of the services that we offer besides investment management are things like life insurance or disability insurance. And one of the ways that I work with clients is doing a financial plan. So they will hire me as a financial planner, and I'll give them objective advice and put together a financial plan and help them to make sure that they're on track to meeting their goals.
That's awesome. It is never too early or too late to start that financial planning process with Duncan. I want to talk a little bit about, so my husband and I are in an age where we have young kids and we're planning not only for our future, but for their future. Do you have any tips on some things, 529s and other maybe college planning or other things that you can just be prepared for that life might throw at you that you want to just get a head start on?
Yeah. So I mentioned I've got a grandson, Grady. So Grady he'll be 4 months old tomorrow, and we're already thinking about how can we provide for Grady's college education. Because when you're a young couple raising children, it's expensive. It is hard to save for college, which may be, 18 years, 17 years away. How do you do that? So, Emily, you mentioned a 529 plan. That's just the number in the IRS code for a particular type of account that will allow parents, grandparents, family, friends to put money into an account specifically for college. It can be invested in a lot of different ways, whether it's in stocks or bonds or mutual funds, that type of thing. But it can grow tax deferred. In other words, you don't have to pay tax on any of the growth. And when the child is ready to go to school, as long as it is for qualified expenses like tuition, books, that type of thing, the money can be used tax-free. So it's a great way to save for college savings. So, when we were young and our kids were growing up, it was hard to save. So I guess a tip would be, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to save for 100% of your child's college education. But maybe you can save a little bit. Somebody described it to me like a football field. We don't have to go, 100 yards to the end zone, but what if you get to the 40-yard line? And when they're ready for college, at least you've got part of the way covered, and the rest you can figure out.
That is such a great thing to have peace of mind. You don't always have to have 100% coverage. Getting started, no matter where you are in the process, and just doing what you can is so important. Let's talk a little bit about Roth IRAs and a 401k. Even if you work for a company who has a 401k or does some sort of matching, you can also help them in that process, correct?
Yeah, in the process of putting together a financial plan for somebody, most of their investments may come through their company, whether it's a 401k plan, or maybe you work for a nonprofit or a church or a university. They'll have what are called 403b accounts, and they're both the same thing. Your employer may match a certain amount, and over time, those funds will grow. So I think my biggest tip would be, don't leave any free money on the table. So let's say, for example, if Emily, if you worked for a company and they said, if you put in 6% of your own money, we'll match 100% of that. In other words, we'll add another 6%. If you feel like you can't afford that, I can only do 1 or 2%, you're leaving that free money on the table. Do whatever you can to make sure you get 100% of that match. The Roth IRA or the Roth 401k plan is offered by some companies, not every company, but it's starting to become more popular. I really think that for people who have access to that, the more money you can put into a Roth account, the better off you're going to be. And the reason for that is while you don't get a tax break now, just like a 529, that money can grow tax deferred, and when you take that money out, at age 59 and a half, or when you separate from your employer, as long as you're 59 and a half, that money is tax-free. And we don't know what tax rates are going to be. Tax rates will always change no matter what administration we have. So I like a combination of the traditional 401k, but also if the Roth option is available, make sure you take advantage of that as well.
Awesome. You've already given us some great tips, but I want to know, what is your, being in this world and, this being your role, but also just being a human and a community member,
Right.
What is your number one tip for anybody watching today on financial planning?
I think it's having a plan. Too often we go through this life, whether it is in our financial lives or otherwise, and we really don't have a plan. Even if you put together some sort of a plan, at least you have a goal that you're shooting for. And it's amazing what you can accomplish just by making small steps in the right direction. And when you have somebody who is a trusted advisor that can say, yeah, you're on the right track, you're doing the right things, that's a great resource to have. So that would be my number one tip, is work with somebody to put together some sort of a plan to make sure that you're on track to meet your goals.
And you have a special offer for everybody, but especially What's Up Woodford viewers. If they come to you, anybody, you do offer this. I'm kind of making light of that because you do offer this just as a general service, as a free consultation. But the first 10 people or the first 100 people, we can keep moving this ladder up, that call Duncan right after they watch this show. Call him, schedule your free consultation, right, Duncan? Because there is no harm in just reaching out to say, what are my options? How can we have a conversation?
And we joke about that, but I think there is this barrier for people to make contact with a financial advisor, because sometimes they feel like, well, my situation's so bad that I'm embarrassed. Well, let me tell you, I've been in financial services for over 30 years. I've seen a lot, and no one is beyond being able to help in some way. And the other thing is they're worried about what the cost is. And to sit down and have a conversation with me, whether it's over the phone, whether it's Zoom, or whether it's in person, we'll sit down and have a conversation. There's no cost to do that, but it gives us a chance to get to know one another and figure out if there's a good fit. And if it is, then we can talk about what the costs are. And I'm very transparent about that. I want to make sure that I'm giving value, but I also want to make sure that I'm being compensated fairly. So it's a win-win situation. And I can tell you, Emily, I love what I do. And the thing that I enjoy most is being able to help people meet their goals and give them a sense of peace. So that's what I love about my job.
That's awesome. Guys, you take it from me. I've known Duncan for many, many years. He is a stand-up guy. It is important that you know your financial planner, that you are, have the trust built there. He is local. He has a ton of resources. That is where Thrivent comes in. Not only his expertise and experience, but then the Thrivent brand is behind him. So definitely check him out. It's worth the call at minimum, just to see what your options are. As Duncan said, it's never too late. It's always good to have somebody there that can keep you accountable. Everything that you share with Duncan is completely private, just like anything in healthcare or in any other industry. All of your information will not be shared. It will just be between you and Duncan, and they can get you on the right path or get you further on the path. So no matter where you are, it's never too late or too early to get started. Call Duncan today at Thrivent, and he will get you, I promise, he will get you a great financial plan and some great tools and resources to make your financial dreams and goals happen. All right, guys, that's all we have time for now. So get in touch with Duncan. How do they get in touch with you? How do they reach out?
So a couple ways. I'm here on Main Street, downtown Versailles, 112 North Main Street, right across from the library. You can call me on my number at 859-576-5000. It's a pretty easy number to remember. Or you can Google me, Duncan Gardiner, financial advisor, Thrivent, and it'll have my information. So Emily, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure.
Yes. All right, guys. We'll see you next time on What's Up Woodford.